Hey, what's going on, family? This is Andy Henriquez, and of course, I want to welcome you to the Thursday night Show Up for Your Life motivational live stream. I've got a message for you tonight, and this message specifically is to make sure that you don't miss out on any major opportunities, right? I believe that all of us would get a series of major opportunities in our lives, and if we don't have the mindset, if we don't have the vision, and if we don't have the level of capacity that we need to take advantage of those opportunities, we're going to incur a very huge loss. And so I'm going to share a story with you about a time in my life that I had limited vision and it really cost me big time. And I'm hoping you're not going to make the same mistake. And so hopefully you're going to learn from my lesson, learn from my mistakes, and be able to apply this lesson to your life. And so, of course, I want to welcome you to the Thursday night Show for Your Life motivational live stream. And we are going to begin started just momentarily. Of course, I welcome you and I thank you so much for tuning in and joining us for this live stream broadcast. And so once again, my name is Andy Henriquez, strategic storytelling expert, speaker, trainer, and coach, and so excited that you decided to join me. Hey, family, what's going on? This is Andy Henriquez here. And of course, I want to welcome you to the Thursday night Show for Your Life motivational live stream. I'm so super excited you decided to join me. I've got a special message for you tonight. Listen, I had to learn a very costly lesson. I mean, this thing cost me thousands of dollars. I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it was a time in my life in which I had a limited vision and I had limited resources. Well, so I thought, and I had a limited capacity. And so I forfeited a very awesome opportunity. And I wish I could go back and relive that moment. And so I can't. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that I can at least pass the lesson on so that you don't find yourself in a situation where you are presented with a phenomenal opportunity and you end up having to pass on the opportunity because you didn't have a big enough vision or because you didn't necessarily have the capacity to move forward. And so we're going to begin starting in just a few seconds. If you would just do me a favor as you're jumping on, put in your city and your state in the comments below so I go ahead and give you a quick shout out before we go ahead and get started. Once again, I've got a message for you tonight. This message is specifically because I believe that every single one of us on every given year, we get a series of amazing opportunities that if we acted on those opportunities, if we move forward on those opportunities, if we took full advantage of opportunities, it would literally change our financial blueprint and change the destiny of our life, not just financially, but this is something that could ultimately change your destiny if you are properly positioned and if you make sure you take advantage of it. But guess what happens a lot of times? We don't have a big enough vision. We believe that for some reason we don't necessarily have the resources. We don't necessarily ask for the help. And then we end up missing out on an extraordinary opportunity that could have been a game changer for us. And so what I'm hoping is that is never, ever going to happen to you again after hearing this message. And so I want to share with you specifically about one of my stories, a major lesson that I learned, a major loss that I experienced, and most importantly, really position you so that never, ever, ever, ever happens to you. So once again, tonight's message is called Expand Your Vision. Expand your vision. And the reason why I want you to expand your vision is because I believe wholeheartedly that you have already had some opportunities come your way that could have changed your life, that if you would have taken advantage of those opportunities, it would have changed your life. But I also believe that you have more opportunities that are going to come your way that could possibly change your life. But you've got to have a big enough vision to take advantage of them. You've got to be able to have a big enough capacity to take advantage of them. And I don't want what happened to me to happen to you. And so if you would just stick around with me, I'm going to be sharing a story with you. Let me say hi to a couple people. Hey, Darren, good to see you. Hey, Cindy, good to see you from Denver, Colorado. Hey, Christine, good to see you. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Do me a favor as you're jumping in, go ahead and hit the share button because I'm going to be sharing something with you. So let me start off by really just telling you a story. So this is what happened. So just yesterday, my wife had to do a live stream on Facebook, and she was going to be doing a webinar and a live stream. And so I wanted to give her an opportunity to just have her me time, and I didn't want her to have to deal with any distractions. So I decided to take my 2-year-old daughter out to dinner so that we could just be out of the house and so that we wouldn't distract my wife, who was going to be in the middle of her coaching. She has a coaching group, a mastermind that she runs and so forth. And so I am driving down one of these back streets with my daughter. And as we drive down the back street, I see this multi-unit building. Now, as soon as I see this multi-unit building, I start experiencing all type of emotions. and I started going back memory lane. And let me help you to understand where my mind drifted to. So for some of you, you may or may not know, before I became a full-time speaker, trainer, and a coach, before I was doing any of that, I was actually a real estate investor. And so in the South Florida market, I was buying and flipping homes. And I was also involved in a particular niche in real estate known as real estate wholesaling. And so without complicating you anything and sparing you from all the real estate jargon, real estate wholesaling was just basically, it was a cool way to invest in real estate where you would pretty much get properties under contract, and without doing any work to them, you would mark the properties up and then sell them to another investor that would purchase the property, do whatever repairs need to be done to the property. So basically, you were making money by getting a property under contract and then passing the contract over to somebody else. And so the reason why I started going down memory lane is because I'm going down this back road. And as I'm going down this back road, I see this multi-unit building. This is a building that has 22 different doors. So it's a 22 multi-unit building. Most of the properties in there are like 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartments, but it's one single 2-story building. And so I'm going down memory lane. And let me tell you why I'm going down memory lane. Because many, many moons ago, many years ago, I had that property under contract. I had that property under contract. And when I had that property under contract, it was at that particular time one of the biggest properties that I had ever gotten under contract. This is a 22-unit building, and I had it under contract for about $550,000 for just over $500,000. Now, here's the thing I gotta let you know. When I put the property under contract, I did not have $500,000 to be able to close on that property. So let me just clear that up for you right there. But the way real estate wholesaling works is you don't necessarily need to have the money. You can actually borrow the money from somebody who will help you to close on the property, and then afterwards you can resell the property to somebody all in the same day. And so check this out. I put out an offer on this property, and I get this property under contract, and I get it under contract for $550,000. So I'm super excited. And then I mark it up slightly, and then I end up selling the property to another investor. Now, here's the thing. You're not going to feel sorry for me about this particular deal at all. You're not going to feel sorry for me at all. Trust me, I made a nice, handsome profit. There was a couple of us in the deal, and I think I made about $40,000 in profit from that particular deal. So this story doesn't really end like that. But here's what I want you to understand. Here's what I want you to get. When I realized it is there's a couple of things that happened. I would have loved to have owned that building. Like when I was in the car with my daughter just yesterday, driving by that building, I would have loved to slow down and pointed out that building and told my daughter, hey, honey, Dada owns this building. Those 22 units, I own the building. We're going to take advantage of it. And Daddy's going to leave this to you, or this is what secures a lot of income for Dada. But here's what I want you to understand, and this is where the lesson comes for you. At that particular time, when I had that property under contract, here's what I want you to understand. I had a limited vision. And so here's what I want you to understand. There are going to be times that you are going to have these amazing opportunities that are going to come your way. I'm talking about ginormous, huge opportunities. Like that was a big deal for me to get a 22-unit building under contract for $550,000. Now, granted, I was able to mark it up and sell the property for a profit for somebody else without doing any work for it. But understand this, if I would have had a bigger vision, and if I would have found another way to come up with the money, to borrow the money, to secure that piece of real estate, what I want you to understand is several years later, that property is worth about 2 times what I had it under contract for. So I want you to understand this. I was going to have that property under contract for $550,000. If I would have still had that property today, that property would be worth over $1 million. And I would still be owning that property, and I would still be collecting rent on that property. And the rent that I was collecting on that property would have covered whatever kind of loan that I would have gotten on the property. So what's the lesson? What is it that I want you to realize? What I want you to realize is this, is that most of us are going to have some really awesome opportunities that are going to come our way. And you know what's going to happen many a times? We're going to pass on those opportunities because we have a limited vision. And let me tell you some of the reasons that we pass on it. Sometimes we pass on opportunity because we're like, well, I don't know how to take advantage of this opportunity. I don't know if I have enough information. I don't know if I have enough knowledge. Another reason why we pass on those opportunities is because we say to ourselves, I don't know if I have the resources. Another reason why we pass on those opportunities is because we say, I don't know if I know what all the steps are. And what I want you to understand is that those are all things that you can get help with. I want you to get this. Like, I passed on actually owning that property because of the fact that I thought to myself, well, Andy, you don't have that money yourself. And the same way I came up with borrowing the money for a day so I could do a double closing, I could have found a way to secure a loan, whether I had to go to hard money lenders, whether I had to go to private investors, whether I had to go to the bank, whether I had to pull out an equity line. I could have found a way to secure that property. And so here's the crazy thing is, I pulled out a calculator and I did the math. If I would have found a way to secure that property and held on to that property, if I decided to sell that property today, I would have made in excess of $500,000 from that deal. And what I want you to understand is this, that the only reason why I can't sit here right now and tell you that story was because of the fact that I wasn't thinking big enough. And so what I want you to understand is this. I want you to think about a major goal, a major dream, something that you've been wanting to do. And what I want you to understand is there are going to be some opportunities that are going to come your way. And if you don't have the ability to think bigger, if you don't have the ability to be resourceful, if you don't have the ability to ask for help, if you don't have the ability to expand your vision and expand your capacity, you're going to miss out on opportunities that are going to be game changers that could have allowed you to completely shift and change your life. And so the first thing I want you to realize is that all of us, we've got to learn to see a bigger picture. I need you to see a bigger picture. Like, I need you, whatever goal, whatever dream, whatever it is that you have right now, I need you to increase your capacity. I need you to have a bigger vision and have bigger goals and bigger dreams, and stop playing the little short game and start having a bigger dream, a bigger vision for yourself. Do me a favor right now in the comment section, put hashtag bigger, hashtag bigger. I want you to go bigger on your goals and your dreams. I want you to go bigger on your vision. I want you to go bigger on the things that you're looking to create for yourself. And even if that scares you, even if you don't know how you're going to do it, I was told a long time ago by one of my mentors, he said, Andy, how is none of your business. Your only job is to have a big vision and to simply believe that it's possible for you. And if you can simply have a big vision, and if you can believe that it's possible for you, then trust and believe. The right people will begin to show up. Resources will begin to show up. You'll find the right people who can guide you and give you guidance and teach you things. And I've been able to witness that and see that in my life. And so what I want you to do is I want you to stop playing a small game. Stop playing the shorter game. Stop playing the smaller game. See, I decided to go ahead and wholesale that property. That was the smaller game. I decided to wholesale that property. That was the shorter game. What I should have done was to stretch myself. What I should have done was to find the resources. What I should have done was to ask for the help. What I should have done was to increase my capacity so I could have been able to secure that property and still own that property till today. And I'm telling you right now that the only reason why I can't sit here right now and share this story with you and saying that I had the property and I was holding on to it was because my vision wasn't big enough. And what I want to ask you right now is, what area in your life are you having a small vision? What area in your life could you stretch yourself? What area in your life could you increase your vision? I want you to think about your business. I want you to think about your financial goals. I want you to think about your health goals. I want you to think about your spiritual goals. And I want you to think about those goals. And I want you to start asking yourself, how can I think bigger? How can I play a bigger game? Like be very mindful, be very careful when you're surrounding yourself with people who are impressed with what you're currently doing. Because when you surround yourself with people who are impressed with what you're currently doing, what it does is it causes you to start being complacent, and it also causes you to be very comfortable with the current vision that you have for yourself. And what I want to do is I want to get you to sort of stretch. I want you to start asking the question, how can I play a bigger game? and how can I have a bigger vision for myself? I'm telling you right now, I wish that at that moment I would have made a phone call to somebody who would have said, Andy, are you kidding me, dude? You want to wholesale? You have a 22-unit building under contract, and you're going to wholesale that building? Why? Because you say you don't have the money, and so you're going to sell the property, and dude, you want to make a $40,000 profit? Dude, do you understand if you have a bigger vision for yourself, I can show you to not just have a $40,000 profit, I can show you how to have a $500,000 profit. Man, you're thinking too small, Andy. You got to increase your vision. You got to increase your capacity. I'm telling you right now, I can help you to find the resources. I can help you to secure the loan. As a matter of fact, you don't even need to have the money yourself. Is that place being rented? Yes, it is. Does it already have existing cash flow? Yes, it does. I can bring you somebody who's going to give you a loan, not based off of you, but based off of the property itself, based off of what you're telling me you could get this property for. See, I didn't necessarily talk to the right people. I didn't have anybody that was helping me to stretch and increase my mindset. You see, I spoke to a couple people, but it was the people who were saying, oh man, Andy, that's impressive. You're going to get this property under contract and you're going to make $40,000, as if $40,000 was a big deal. And don't get me wrong, I'm grateful that I made the $40,000, but there was a much bigger game there. And I want you to think about every area in your life, in your career. I want you to think about in your business. I want you to think about in your health. I want you to think about in your faith. How can you play a bigger game? How can you show up in a completely different way? Who do you need to reach out to help to actually get you some help? Who is it that you need to talk to that is not going to be impressed with what you're currently doing, but rather they're going to stretch you and get you to play a bigger game? Now, here's one of the things I want you to understand, that what hurts many of us is this. Most of us were playing a short-term game. You see, when I was back in that particular situation and I had that property under contract, all I was looking at is, man, Andy, in the next 45 days, you're going to make $40,000. Now, don't get me wrong. I think most people would be very happy if they made an additional $40,000 by just getting a property under contract and marking it up and selling it to somebody else. I believe most people will be happy with that, and especially if they got that money within 45 days. Don't get me wrong. But what I want you to understand is this. Had I had a longer-term vision, had I looked past the 45 days and looked out for a year, looked out for 2 years, looked out for 5 years, looked out for 10 years, well, if I had a longer vision and saw the game from a longer perspective, I would have realized that this property would have had the opportunity to be able to pay back for itself. This property would have been able to help me to generate an additional 5 figures per month as additional residual income. And not only that, that property would have been able to position me to make an excess at a minimum of $500,000. And so I share that with you because I want you to understand this, that a lot of times we don't make the best decision because of the fact that we have a short-term vision. And rather, we need to have a long-term game. And so what I want you to understand is that we all need to play a long-term game. Do me a favor right now, in the comment section, put #long. I want you to have a long-term vision. I want you to have a long-term game in your mind. Whatever it is that you're looking to do, for you entrepreneurs out there, you're tuning in, I want you to understand that, you know what, because of social media, because of technology, we have really become accustomed to this instant gratification where we want to get rewarded with stuff instantly. I mean, I think about myself right now. Sometimes I'm heating up something in my microwave, and I'm heating up this thing in my microwave, and I have it set for 1 minute. And I don't know if you've ever done this. And even I can't even wait for the 1 minute. Like, the microwave is at 43 seconds, and I'm already opening the microwave door to see if the food is already warmed, because I don't even have the patience to wait 1 minute. We live in a microwave society, and a lot of times we have a microwave mindset for our goals and our dreams and the things that we want to make happen. But what I want you to understand is that there are a lot of things, big dreams and big visions. We can't bring a microwave mentality to big dreams and big visions. You got to have a long-term game. You got to have a long-term vision to make those things come to fruition. And so that instant gratification does not serve you when you have a big vision. That instant gratification does not serve you when you've got to go through a process before you produce the results. And what I want you to understand is that anything worth doing is going to require your time. Anything worth doing is going to require some patience. Anything worth doing is going to require a long-term game. And so what I want you to do is stop getting out of this like short-term vision, this microwave type mindset. And what I want you to understand is if you're an entrepreneur, 5 years into becoming and running this business or this thing that you're looking to do, I want you to understand when you're 5 years in, you are just getting started. Like you haven't even begun to crack the surface. When you're 5 years in, you are just getting started in the game. Things are just starting to happen for you. You're just starting to lay the foundation, right? And so it just baffles me when I ask people and they say, oh, I'm so frustrated. I think I'm going to throw in the towel. I said, well, how long have you been at it? They're like, oh, for 6 months. Are you kidding me? 6 months? Well, how long have you been at it? I've been at it for 8 months. I've been at it for a year. Are you kidding me? You're just getting started. Listen, most overnight success, the people that you're hearing those success stories, most overnight success takes 15 years. 15 years of being in the game, 15 years of working on their craft, 15 years of investing in the resources, 15 years of making phone calls, 15 years of building their direct sales business, of working on their marriage, of changing their health habits. 15 years, like those things take a long time. It takes time fruition. And so what we've got to do is we've got to get out of this microwave society and we've got to play the long-term game. And so remember what I told you. The first thing is you've got to see the bigger picture. See the bigger picture. Stop having this small, limited vision. And then the other thing is you've got to play a long-term game. Like have this long-term vision, play a long-term game. And now here's the third thing. Here's the third thing. I want you to get this. And this is very, very important. This is an area that I struggled with for a long time. And I'm telling you that one of the reasons why we don't do this is because of pride. I've got to unpackage this in my own life. And I'm telling you that when you are prideful, so prideful that you don't want to ask for help, you know, sometimes we try to make it seem real noble. Well, I don't want to ask for help because I don't want to inconvenience anybody. I don't want to ask for help because, you know, I like to help people and I don't like to ask for help. Well, can I tell you, really, you can call it what you want. You can layer it for whatever it is that you want. But oftentimes the reason why we don't ask for help is because of the fact of this. We are prideful. And so what I want you to understand is that sometimes you got to be willing to ask for help. And so when I think about this, when I think back to that opportunity, and here's the crazy thing. I had another real estate opportunity that was very similar that I passed up on. So here's what I want you to get. So I own a piece of real estate. And I got a phone call one day from a realtor. And the realtor called me and said, Andy, there's a vacant lot that's right next to your property. This was a commercial. The property that I have is a commercial piece of property. And then there was a vacant commercial piece of property right next to it. And so the realtor called me up and he said, Andy, listen, we have this property. We're about to list it. We decided to call you first since you own the property right next door. And when he called me up, I said, man, that property is so tiny. It's so tiny. They don't even have enough room for parking. And not only do they not even have enough room for parking, but it has this little teeny old building on it. The building's only about 900 square feet. I mean, you're so limited on what you could do with that property. And I said, well, how much are you asking for the property? He says, well, you know, we could probably get you the property for about $400,000. And then so I'm starting to think to myself, man, the property's so small. I don't even know what I'm going to end up doing with the property. They don't even have parking at that property. I told them, well, you know what? I'm just going to pass. I'm going to pass on it. And so here's what ended up happening. They listed the property. Somebody else purchased the property. Now, here's what I want you to understand. Once again, I had a limited vision of what the possibilities were. Because, see, I was just looking at that single property. But what I didn't think about was the fact that there was some new development going on in the area. And even though I had no use for the property, that there was eventually to be some other people that needed to acquire that property just to use it as part of the development that they were going to do. So whether they were going to use it for additional parking, whether they were going to use it for whatever it is. So one of the things is, had I had a bigger vision at the time, what I should have done was just secured that piece of real estate, held on to it. And yes, it would have cost me money. And you know, it would not have been making me money. but I should have went ahead and acquired a piece of real estate because it would have put me in a good position to leverage in the future. And can I tell you what happened? Somebody else bought that property. And about 3.5 years later, they bought the property for $400,000. And 3.5 years later, they sold the property for $850,000. So I would have essentially doubled my money in 3 years. And once again, what were the things that I was missing out on? And this is what I want you to understand, the lesson for you. Number one is that I was only looking at a small picture. You see, I was just looking at that property itself. It's small. It doesn't have parking. It has a tiny little building on it. There's not much you can do there. But I didn't look at the surrounding area to think, like, what is going on in the area? Who's going to potentially need this property in the future? How can I acquire this property and then go ahead and sell it to somebody else who's building or developing in the area? So I had a small vision. I needed to have a bigger vision. And I want you to think about where in your life could you expand your vision to have a bigger vision in your business, a bigger vision in your career, a bigger vision in your finances, a bigger vision in your marriage, a bigger vision in your relationships, a bigger vision in your faith, a bigger vision for your health. Where in your life could you have a bigger vision and go after more? Now, here's the thing. In order for you to have a bigger vision, you can't be caught up in the short-term gain. And so at that particular time, I was looking at that property. I was like, what can I do with this property like right now in the next 6 months? I should have asked, what can I do with this property in the next 3 years, the next 4 to 5 years? It would have forced me to have a bigger vision. Now, here's the other thing I want you to understand. The third thing is this, folks, I should have asked for help. At that particular time, there was plenty of people that I knew that had commercial real estate. There's plenty of people that I knew that had more experience than I did. There's plenty of people that I knew that were more savvy than I was. And I should have picked up the phone and I should have told them, hey, look, I've got this opportunity. I personally don't see how I could take advantage of this opportunity, but perhaps with your experience, with your knowledge, perhaps you can help me to brainstorm this and help me to make sure that I'm making the right decision before I walk away from this opportunity. And so what I want you to understand is this. I believe that you are going to get a couple of amazing opportunities in your life. And you're going to get some amazing opportunities within the next 12 months. And if you don't have a big enough vision, if you don't have a long-term game, if you're not willing to ask for help, if you're not willing to stretch yourself and increase your capacity, you're going to miss out on an opportunity that could possibly change your life. You're going to miss out on an opportunity that could be a game changer for you. And I want you to get this lesson because this was a very costly lesson for me. And I want to make sure that you get it. And so what I want you to understand is that every single one of us needs to increase our vision. We've got to have a long-term game and we've got to be willing to ask for help. Now, I asked you a little earlier to put hashtag bigger, hashtag long, and do me a favor right now, put hashtag help. Because I believe that for every single one of us, the only way that we're going to get to the next level is we've got to be willing to ask for help. We've got to ask for help for people who are a little further down the path. We got to ask for help from people who've been there before. We've got to ask for help from the people who can show us the way, who have paved the way. We've got to be willing to ask for help. So do me a favor right now in the comment section below, put hashtag help, because I believe that this is one of those things that really makes many of us miss out on breakthrough opportunities because we pass on opportunities. Yes, Darren said a hashtag help. Yes, I see you. Daphne said hashtag help. Yes, Cindy said hashtag help. I believe that we miss out on major opportunities because we try to figure it out on our own and we don't necessarily know how to be resourceful. And so we've got to learn to be resourceful. We've got to pick up the phone. We've got to reach out to some other people who have been there before, who've gone through the similar challenge, that have the knowledge, that have the skill set, and can impart some wisdom that's going to help us to get to the outcome. And when you can do that, yes, Christine said hashtag help. And when you can do that, things begin to shift for you. When you can do that, you give yourself an advantage. And I'm telling you right now, had I implemented these lessons that I share with you right now, I'm telling you, for me, it would have equated to an extra of over like $500,000 worth of additional investment, or $500,000 worth of additional income if I would have decided to go ahead and sell, as a result of me simply having a bigger vision. Listen carefully, having a bigger vision, playing a longer term game, and being willing to ask for help. And so that was an expensive lesson for me. And I don't want you to incur the same lesson. There was a wise person that once said that when you lose, don't lose the lesson. And so I got the lesson now. You must certainly believe that now when I look at things, I look at things from a bigger lens. I look at things from a bigger vision. I consider things from a long-term perspective. And not only that, but I also am more willing to ask for help. And so what I want you to understand is this, is that I believe, and here's what I know for certain, here's what I believe. I believe that before this year ends, you are going to get, listen carefully, you're going to get 2 to possibly 3 opportunities that if you have a big enough vision, if you have a long-term vision, and if you're willing to ask for help, and if you took advantage of those opportunities, that it will change, literally change the trajectory of your life. And so I'm telling you right now, if you can just simply have that bigger vision, have a long-term game, and be willing to put the pride aside and ask for help, everything changes. And so the moment I started to implement these things into my life, having a bigger vision, having a long-term game, and asking for help. I remember one particular year, it was about 2 years ago, in a period of 12 months, I watched my business income literally increase by 128%. My business revenue more than doubled. Why? Because I had a bigger vision. And why? Because I started looking at things from a more long-term game and not just looking at the right now and just trying to hurry up and chase the money and chase the clients and so forth, but having a long-term game, and then being willing to ask for help, finding people who had played in a bigger arena than I have, finding people who had already done what I did and reaching out to them and asking for help, paying for the help, doing whatever it is that I had to do to get the help, and everything changed. And I want you to start thinking right now, what do you need to do? What do you need to do to increase your capacity? What do you need to do to increase your vision? How do you need to look at things differently to play a longer term game? And who are the people that potentially you need to ask for help? And when you can start answering those questions in a powerful way, everything changes. You hear me? Everything changes. And so I want to share something else with you, and I want you to take advantage of this if you haven't already done so. Let me go ahead and type this for you right now. And as all of you know, every time I share these messages with you, I always share with you a little special free resource. And you know whether or not you've taken advantage of this already or not. But if you haven't, I have a free video training that I want to send to you. In that video training, I share with you how you can leverage your story so that you can connect with people, so that you can enroll them into your vision and get them to take action. And so if you want to take advantage of that, it's super, super simple. If you haven't already done so, if you have, you know you already did. But if you haven't, here's all you got to do. You're going to text the word show up, all one word. So if your cell phone tries to put a space between the word show and up, get rid of the space and make sure there's no space in between the word show up. So text the word show up, all one word, to 954-278-3701. Once again, you're going to text the word show up to 954-278-3701. When you do that, just go ahead and follow the cues. You're going to put in your name, your email address, and then you're going to receive an email with access to the video training as well as the text message. So one more time, you're going to text the word show up to 954-278-3701 and just sort of follow the prompts, and it's going to give you access to one of my free video trainings. And so let me just go ahead and recap and just remind you. I personally believe that before this year ends, that you're going to get 2 to possibly 3 amazing opportunities that could change the trajectory of your life, of your business, of your finances. And what I want you to understand is that unless you do these 3 things, there's a possibility that you may miss out on those opportunities. And I'm telling you, it happened to me before, and I don't want it to happen to you. Number one, You've got to make sure that you have a bigger vision, that you can see things from a bigger picture. When I shared that story with you about that real estate transaction, and I made the quick money, and I could have made literally 10 times that amount of money. So instead of making $40,000 on that deal, I could have made $500,000 on that deal. But the reason why I didn't was because I had a smaller vision. I had a small picture of the possibilities. I should have had a bigger picture. I should have had a bigger vision for myself. And I want you to stretch your vision, stretch your picture. What do you envision for yourself? What do you envision in your business? What do you envision in your marriage? What do you envision in your finances? I want you to stretch that. I want you to grow it. Yes, it may be uncomfortable. You may not know how you're going to figure it out. As a matter of fact, that's how you know you're on the right track, because you don't know how you're going to do it. That normally means that you're thinking big. If you already know exactly how you're going to do it, you probably aren't thinking big enough. And so you've got to have a bigger vision, a bigger picture of the possibilities. The other thing is, part of you having a bigger vision is you've got to play a long-term game. So I want you to start looking at things not like what's going to happen right now, what's going to happen in the next 6 months, what's going to happen in the next year, but how is this opportunity, if I take advantage of it, how is this moment going to impact the next 5 years of my life, the next 10 years of my life? See, had I asked that question, because that $40,000, I mean, I can't tell you what I really did with that $40,000, but I tell you right now, had I still owned that piece of real estate, I'd be collecting rent from 22 separate tenants. Had I still owned that piece of real estate, it would have done more than doubled in value. Had I still owned that piece of real estate, it'd be worth over $1 million right now. And what I want you to understand is that I should have had a longer term vision, a longer term game. I want you to think about what's the long term game. Remember what I told you to do. Do it again. Do it for me. Hashtag go long. Hashtag go long. Do that right now. Put that in the comment section. Hashtag go long. I want you to go long with the vision. I want you to go long with your dreams. I want you to go long with the things that you want to make happen. Don't be so short-term sighted. Don't just look at what's going to happen in the next month, in the next 6 months, in the next year. Let's talk about what's going to happen in the next 5 years. Let's talk about what's going to happen in the next 10 years. And so I want you to have a long-term vision of the possibilities. And then the other thing is this. Once you have that big vision and you have a long-term game, and don't forget right now in the comment section, put hashtag go long. Yes, I see you, Tori. Put hashtag go long. Once you have that long-term vision and that long-term game, what I want you to understand is that you're not going to be able to do it by yourself. And so you're going to have to be resourceful. And part of being resourceful is that you may have to reach out to some people, Christine. You may have to reach out to some people, Darren. You may have to reach out to some people and say, hey, look, I've got an opportunity or something that I want to do, but right now I don't exactly know how to do it. I don't have the resources. I don't necessarily have the skill set, and I don't exactly know how to do it. But I know if I reach out to the right people that they're going to equip me to be able to do it. And so I want to reach out to you to get some help, Janelle, right? I want to reach out to you to get some help. And if we reach out and we ask for the help, we put our pride to the side, we put our ego to the side, and we're able to ask for help, amazing things will begin to happen. And so what I realized is there's some major opportunities that I really should have exhausted my resources. I should have been resourceful, right? And it's one of the important things for those of us that want to have success in life. We got to be resourceful. I should have used those resources. And by using those resources, those people that help me to have a bigger vision, help me to find the resources, and help me to take advantage of those opportunities. And I'd be sharing a completely different story with you. Now, I'm grateful because I've learned from those lessons and I've applied those lessons, but I want to make sure that you get those lessons for yourself. Now, do me a favor. Regardless if you've been here the whole time with me or if you're just jumping in and you're catching a piece of this, go ahead and hit the share button, because I know that there's somebody who's part of your tribe, somebody who's part of your community right now that is playing it small. They need to have a bigger vision. They need to see the bigger picture. They need to have a more long-term mindset, and they've got to condition themselves to start asking for help, because if they do that, everything changes for them. If they can start thinking bigger, if they can expand their vision, everything changes for them. And so I am hoping the next time an opportunity comes your way, I'm hoping the next time that you sit down and you think about your vision, you think about your goals, you think about your dreams, I am hoping that you're not going to allow your mind to contract. I'm hoping that you're not going to like have this small vision and look right now just in the 1 month time frame, 6 month time frame. I'm hoping that you're going to have a bigger vision for yourself, that you're going to have a more long-term game, and most importantly, that you come to a realization that you can't do it alone and that you're going to ask for help. And so I am really, really hoping that you remember this message when that opportunity comes, because it is going to come your way. And I'm hoping that you don't back down. I'm hoping that you don't play it small, but I'm hoping that you go full steam ahead, that you keep a big vision, that you have a long-term sight, and that ultimately that you ask for help. And when you do those things, amazing things begin to happen for you. And I can't wait to hear from you about how those amazing things happen. So listen, you guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Hey, Mark, good to see you, man. Thank you. I appreciate you tuning in, my brother. I thank you guys. If you didn't catch all of this, of course, you can go and catch the rest of the replay. But, you know, I heard a long time ago, it said, when you lose, don't lose the lesson. I definitely missed out on some opportunities in life. Now, I've taken advantage of some amazing opportunities in life, and I'm grateful for it. And a lot of times we share a lot of the wins, but I think we need to share the losses, because there's also some great stories in the losses. So I share that with you because I want you to get the lesson, because I don't want you to have an amazing opportunity come your way, and because of your small thinking, because of a small vision, because of the fact that you're just looking at your resources and you're not being resourceful, that you miss out on those opportunities. And so stretch yourself. Make sure you take advantage of those. And don't forget, if you haven't already done so, take advantage of my free video training. You can text the word "show up," all one word, to 954-278-3701. Once again, you're going to text the word "show up," all one word, to 954-278-3701. Hey, listen, family, I appreciate you so much for tuning in and joining me on tonight's message. Do me a favor, hit the share button if you haven't already done so. Feel free to go and check the replay if you want to go back and catch a little part of this message that you may have missed. And of course, I'll see you same time, same place next week, Thursday, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful night. God bless. Talk to you soon.